In dialectical behavioral therapy, you learn that you can hold two opposite thoughts at the same time, and they can be in conversation with each other. So I'm going to say this. The new song by Drake and Central Cee called Which One is a good song. I like it. Also, I can't stand it. I can't even with Drake. Okay? Code switching out of convenience or out of affect is an insult to those who must code switch out of necessity. Now, speaking of dialectics, let's talk about love and hate, because I'm trying an experiment today. I am talking about love and hate today. All right? You understand me? That's what I'm talking about today. I just recorded a video about the concert that I saw, Chromacopia concert, with Tyler, the Creator, and Lil Yachty, who, by the way, I love. Even if I'm supposed to hate him because I'm allegedly a K-bot, I love Lil Yachty and I support him always. So you can go click on that video and watch a little travel log with my daughter and myself and age and music and love and family and all that stuff. But you're here and you clicked on this, okay? Love and hate are in a constant war, all right? This connects to the strings of the soul, and this is the hand that slew Abel, all right? But what we got here, you chose hate. You chose to watch one of the biggest Drake haters in the world hate on Drake for however many minutes this goes. But let's complicate that, all right? Now, first of all, let me talk about hate just for a second. Let me just talk about hate for just a little bit more time, all right? Because I was at the Chromacopia concert in Toronto 2 nights ago. I was in the Six, okay? I was in Drake's hometown, a city that I visited more than any other city that I've never lived in, all right? I love Toronto. I do. I have a lot of complicated feelings about it, which I discuss in my Tyler video, but still. So I'm sitting there, and I realize it's 9 o'clock, and Drake announced that something's going to be happening at 9 o'clock. Listen, I want good things for Drake. I hope for Drake. I want for Drake. If you're reading this, and honestly, Nevermind are my 2 favorite Drake albums, if that gives you an idea of what kind of Drake fan I am, that's what kind of Drake fan I am. All right? I'm also extremely harsh on him. I hold him to an extremely high standard and think that he is a terrible human being for steak. Just for that bit. Just for the bit that I know. Just for the bit that's incontrovertible. That I cannot forgive him for on a human level. But still, as an artist, I want for him. I hope that the person who is at the top or who was at the top is making great art. That's what I want. So 9 p.m. shows up, and I'm actually in Toronto. I think maybe he'll be doing the ice cream truck thing again. Maybe I can go chase him down, right? Maybe I can go chase him down with my daughter and be on a Drake video. What would I say if I could see Drake, right? What would I say? Would I be like the guy who said, Drake sucks? You know, what would I say? I don't know. Probably nothing. So I'm sitting there and I'm waiting for Tyler to go on, and I'm sitting in the pit. So I got floor seats, and I just, like, I can't find anything about what's happening. It's like 9:05 or something. So I eventually decided to go on the Drizzy subreddit. I don't know, it just sort of seemed like a good idea. They would know what's going on. I don't know if this is going to be on YouTube. I don't know where this is. And this is where we have to start off with hate, because this is what greets me, everybody. This right here. Wait, I said this right here. How do I? Yes. Drake, I'm dropping new music at 9 p.m. Drake haters at 9:05 p.m. And look who's there. I'm right there. All right, this is from Culture United, the last Culture United I was on. All right. So yeah, it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny, and to the meme creator, it was true. It was 9:05. I was in the middle of a concert. I was checking. Now listen, I wasn't checking to hate, but then I decided to read the comments, okay? I decided to read the comments because why not, right? This is where the hate's going to get real, because I figure, who am I? I'm up on screen with Screwface Jean, like one of the absolute greats of hip-hop commentary all time. I'm up there with Fantano, the king of YouTube music commentary. I'm up there with FD Signifier. There's no way I'm going to be soloed out in the comments. There's no way I'm going to be hated on. That's called foreshadowing, okay? Look at this. I despise Professor Skye so much, y'all have no idea. I'm like Lex Luthor with how much I hate that man. Who, me? Me? What's fuck me for? Someone bringing up Ron Burgundy to slight my name. Bro's an absolute phony, the epitome of a K-dot, dumb but posing like he's an intellectual. Hey, I'm not posing like I'm an intellectual. I am an intellectual. I might still be a dumbass. Anyways, let's keep going here. He's a grifter. He doesn't believe half the shit he says. He's always misinformed on the most obvious things. I'm a grifter? Oh, this is interesting. You're right. 100% self-aware that he's pandering. He's admitted it. Doesn't he have a PhD kind of going on and on and on like that? So that's that. All right. We don't need to watch that anymore. And so it is true that I recognize, and that's part of why I'm doing this experiment today, is will my hate of this new song, which I actually think is a pretty good song, will my hate for this song, which is actually a good song and I kind of like, will my hate for this song do better for me than my Tyler video? Of course it will. Of course it will. I'm the first person to admit that shitting on Drake buys me groceries. It does. It literally bought me like 2 weeks of groceries. That song, What Did I Miss? I literally made 2 weeks worth of groceries on that. So I don't deny that. But I also don't deny this. Everything I say is what I mean. It's just maybe that I recognize that people want to hear what I think about Drake. I can't help that. I can't help that. And I always have something to say. And no matter what you have to say about Drake, no matter how much you hate him, you got to admit, he's an interesting guy. He's an interesting figure of study. So anyways, and also, did you insult me by calling me Superman? That's how you, okay. I'll tell you what. You go ahead. You call me Superman. I feel terrible. Terrible. Also, at some point, people called us soy jacks. I don't know what that means, but I think if you call someone soy jack, you probably got serious problems and you should just go see a therapist. I don't know, man. Like, it's okay. Being a man is tough. It's tough. It's tough. Our society doesn't make it easy to be a man. But whatever would lead you to say that, it means you probably just need to work through some things. And it's like, I'm not saying that even like a jerk. Just seriously, man. Like, whatever that sentence is, whatever that sentence is, that comes from like a not good place. So, let's hate. Let's hate. Let's hate on this 45-minute video. Which I don't hate. I don't hate it. I don't love it either. Hey, Drake's doing something. He's doing an actual album rollout. Plus, he is also, like, let's not forget, doing something interesting, filming in Manchester and walking all around. Like, he is giving it space. He's giving it time. He is employing the thing that his one-time enemy, Kanye West, would employ, which is he is using his audience's goodwill to make them slightly uncomfortable and slightly curious. I applaud that. That's an artistic impulse. He is using his artistic impulses because somewhere underneath the fact that he is a steak, rotten hell for that. Despite the fact he is a steak shill for which nobody should ever forgive him even 1 second, being a millionaire and then becoming a multimillionaire to sell online gambling. There's an artist underneath that. There is. There's a good artist underneath that. Sometimes a great artist underneath that. Sometimes a terrible, weak-ass artist underneath that. And this is, I think, some of his better artistic. It's an idea. He has an idea. Now listen, he has Central Cee on here, who's a London rapper, and he's recording in the middle of Manchester. I don't know that much about English rap music. I imagine it's something kind of like French rap music, where because it's sort of marginalized in global hip-hop compared to American hip-hop, that the rivalry between Manchester and London in terms of hip-hop isn't that big. But still, it's weird to me to see Central Cee in the middle of Manchester. It's like so much to answer for, like... You know, it's like seeing Jay-Z like in the middle of the Slauson swap meet. I don't know. It's a little bit weird. And a lot of people are making a lot about this Pinocchio thing. So, okay. You came here for some smart hate. Here's some smart hate, all you Drake haters, because I'm going to hate on this for a couple reasons. All right? So there's part of this video where Pinocchio is chasing Drake. So first of all, you can't be the Iceman. Nothing gets to me, man. I'm too cool. I got my aviator sunglasses and nobody can mess with me because I'm the Iceman. Will also be like, the man asked me a question. You know, you can't be like, I'm scared of Pinocchio. People are lying and I'm scared. I've got to run away. You know, you can't be like, you know, like, which is it? Which one? Are you a scared little man running from accusations? Or are you the Iceman driving the truck? Right? Also, Pinocchio, confusing as hell, Drake. That's a confusing thing. Now, maybe the primary way this is read, and I don't think there's any other way to read this because this is the most obvious way, is that that's supposed to represent the people who've been lying about him, in particular Kendrick Lamar, and how he's getting away from them and how he's beating them. But, like, Pinocchio is more than just a liar. Pinocchio is a story about acceptance. It's a story about dreaming of becoming a real boy. So we have Drake, the boy, who is constantly in an identity crisis. The most interesting thing about Drake, and we'll get to this later, is that he has an identity crisis on a near permanent point. He is constantly trying to figure out which one is he? What kind of person is he? That's part of what makes the Kendrick versus Drake thing so fascinating, is that Kendrick knows exactly the kind of person he is, and that's the kind of person he is all the time. To a fault. I'm not even saying it's just good. And Drake is like, which one of these guys am I? Am I a rap guy? Am I a singy guy? Am I a creep? Am I a lover? Who am I? So, like, Drake is Pinocchio. And not because he lies all the time, which he does as well. I mean, you heard the accent. We'll get to that. But, like, I feel sympathy for Drake because he wants to be a real boy. He wants to be a real the boy. He wants to sometime not just be like some kind of weird puppet guy. He wants to like have some kind of steady identity in which he can find some kind of comfort, but instead he's a little doll. So anyways, I don't know. You can tell, as the kids say, he thought he ate with the Pinocchio, and I think he ate himself on that. But let's get to the song. Let's get to the elements, okay? We're talking beat, guest feature, lyrics, and the accent. The beat. I have watched every single Drake hater that you saw on that screen, and other Drake haters, okay? Rap Latte, Rob Markman, everybody on planet Earth hears the song and goes, that's a good beat. You have to be some kind of hater, okay? You gotta love this beat. That's this cool like percussion and distortion. The distortion that's in the back here, this beat choice, there is parts of Drake where he is an artist, and this is a good beat, and it's great because it leans into the international rap. If you think I'm just a Drake hater, you please have to watch the video where I describe that the problem with Drake is that he is a goose who wants to be a duck. By that I mean he is the world's most successful international rapper. International hip-hop is its own thing. It has its own flavor, its own meaning, and nobody has done a better job of promoting that and being that than Drake. The problem is he also wants to be the best American rapper. And American rap and international rap don't do the same thing. They don't have the same history. They don't have the same function. Hip-hop itself. So anyways, please watch that video. That's some of my best work. And I'm very sympathetic towards Drake. That's the stasis, okay, that's talked about. And so I like it. More international rap, Drake. More Canadians, more British people. Go to Sweden. I don't care. Go to Singapore. I don't care. It's good. You are a great international rapper. Stay that way. But there's still the issue. The issue is we just went through this beef. And we just went through this whole thing about how he went down to Atlanta. And what's the line? You're not a colleague, you're a fucking colonizer. It still feels like that. And eventually there's going to be a mainstream British rapper who just says no, who just says Drake's not like us, who's just going to say stop stealing our swag, stop coming to us when you need a check, stop coming to us when you need some kind of respectability, and someone's going to go after him and they're going to become a big hero. They're going to become, and then there's going to be someone certainly who has worked with Drake in the past because of the Drake stimulus check, whatever the weird symbiotic / vampiric relationship he has with other regions. So that's going to happen eventually, but not yet. And we have the feature, Central Cee. I like Central Cee. I did a video with JF Musics. Check that out. I actually explain why he is actually a lot more than just a UK Drake. But Central Cee has Drake washed down. Okay? Wiped down? What's the expression from Push-Ups? Got you wiped? It's got you wiped, right? Central Cee, you love this verse. You shut up. You think you don't like this verse? You're just a hater. You're just a hater. If God forbid, a ghost trying to have fun. Okay, just that opening line, just the way he delivers it, just jumps right into it. It's this great shift. It's a very well produced song, a very good interaction between the two rappers, and it kind of quotes "In the Club" by 50 Cent. Later quotes Spice Girls. If you want to be my lover, you got to zig a zig zig a zig zig ha, all that stuff, and just like. His flow is great. His flow is great. He's got great charisma. He's got great presence. He's got great rhymes. He just does all these things super. So you hear a dog in the background? That's the dog that bit my dog's anus. Blood from the anus last week. That was how I spent last Saturday. This Saturday, I'm going to the Serbian festival. Yeah, buddy. Doing the kolo. Too many gyal. Now I got to switch one, turn the hotel into a 20v1. Dude, Central Cee. Drake, whatever money you are giving to Central Cee, give him more, because he is taking something from the beef and making it light and making it funny and turning the 20v1 from like Drake against the world to like just a gross orgy reference, right? Like, this is what you need, Drake. Be light with it. It's fine. Drop the lawsuit. You went up against the greatest living rapper and arguably the greatest rapper of all time, and you lost. That's okay. That's okay. I saw Pedro Martinez give up a home run to Barry Bonds. Okay, I was at Pac Bell. At that point, it was called Pac Bell. I was there. I saw that happen. Pedro Martinez is still one of the greatest baseball players of all time, but he's not Barry Bonds. You're not Kendrick Lamar. Why am I talking about Barry Bonds so much lately? Anyways. So there's that. And then the lyrics, the Drake, listen. I don't know any women for whom these lyrics are effective, okay? I personally don't know any women. I know a lot of women. I don't know one who hears Drake's sex songs and goes, I really enjoy this. They're there. They're obviously out there. I don't look down on women who like this music. I don't look down on men who like this music. This kind of lyrics, you put your head in a pillow face first. I'm in, whatever. I remember the first time I heard, face down, ass up. That's the way we like to fuck. It's great. Awesome. I love that song. I don't hate the sentiment. It is partly about female pleasure, and it is kind of weird, gross. Like, you're so pretty, I'll look at your face while I'm having sex with you. There's still the creepiness. There's still the American psychoness of Drake, the Canadian psychoness. That's the thing. Even when I like Drake, he's just a weird guy. And if you love Drake, you just got to understand that there's nothing you can do about that. He's a weird guy. The way he talks about women, the way he describes them, it's weird. It's not cool. And maybe that's why there's a weird overlap between the kind of people who would call someone a soy jack face and people who love Drake, because it's sort of that weird kind of stunted inability to understand human beings as human beings. And so that all comes through in the lyrics. But you know what? It's not terrible. It's fine. But it's the accent. It's the accent. It's the accent. I can't even with this new Drake song. That was going to be the title of this video. I don't know what it is. Code switching out of convenience or out of affect is an insult to those who must code switch out of necessity. These guys can't make songs for the galdem. There's no accent. You can sell me. All right? That's what Kendrick told us. Let me give you an example of myself. My brother lives in West Virginia. Two of my brothers were born in West Virginia. My dad was the minister of West Virginia University. But if I came on here talking with some kind of Southern accent or some kind of accent like that, it would be unbelievably pandering and not okay at all. I could do that, but it would not be okay. But let's take it closer to home. I'm from Boston. I was born in Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston. I was born in Brigham's. Okay? But I don't come on here and say, hey, what's up? What's up, kid? Welcome to Professor Skye's Record Review, the only new music review show hosted by a French professor. Okay, I don't do that. Why don't I do that? Because I didn't grow up talking like that. I didn't have that accent. I had friends with that accent. I grew up surrounded by that accent. I've heard that accent all over the place. But were I to try to put on that accent, I would be taking on an identity that is not mine. I would be taking on class and region markers that do not belong to me. I would be cosplaying as a working class Boston guy, which I am not. That's not who I am. My father grew up in a very weird sort of like the kind of Kennedy style accent. Okay? Like not the same. It's a different kind of Boston accent, but it's not the same. I am not a working class kid from Somerville. Okay, well, Somerville's now like only billionaires live there, but it used to be, okay? That's not me. I can't pretend. I could pretend. I could do an imitation of that accent, but it would be insulting. Because when people from Boston actually want to get a job, like at a banking firm, they have to keep it in check. They just can't be out there just being like, I'd be wicked pissed out of work at this bank, kid. Like, they can't do that. They have to do their best to code switch. And this is not even talking about like race. This is just talking about class and region. So whenever Drake uses these Caribbean accents or these British accents, imitating, the best case scenario is that it's affect, a choice. But it's not his natural speech. I don't care how many people he knew as an adult. He grew up on the set of Degrassi Junior High. Okay? I mean, I'm sure he was surrounded by people with a heavy Canadian accent. I've never heard him say a boot. I've never heard him say a boot. He could. Why doesn't he? What's that about, hey? What's that about? Like, why doesn't he do that? My best accent is when I imitate French people speaking French because I hear them talk. I have a good idea how they talk English. But when I do that, that's actually not that offensive because there's not a long history of suffering. There's not a long history of French people in America who have suffered from their accent. It goes back to this question of code switching by necessity. So he is putting on this accent, and it is cultural appropriation. It is essentially linguistic blackface. It's him being like, oh, I am not this, I am not that, so I'm going to just put on this accent. And it's really not okay, in my opinion. Okay, listen, hey, you know what? Hey, balance, okay? It's not okay to me. I'm sure my comments will be filled with people who say, I'm from the Caribbean, or I'm from Canada, or I'm from England, and I have no problem with Drake doing this, okay? If that's your experience, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong for having that experience, okay? I'm not the guy to decide if it's okay. It's not up to white dudes what's okay for not white dudes, right? And maybe your love for Drake is so deep that you have a sincere sympathy towards him. Because the other thing is, he wants to be a real boy. He wants to be a real person. He doesn't have a home. He doesn't have a single culture. I've talked about this all the time. That's actually his strength. He treats it like a weakness when he tries to be American and when he tries to be this. But maybe you give him a lot of grace. A lot of grace. Maybe he's earned grace in your books. And him using this accent is a symbol of the fact that he doesn't really have a home. And that's why he's an international rapper. He is an ass between two chairs. He doesn't have a culture. He has many cultures. And that can be a strength as opposed to a weakness. So maybe you accord him that grace and you hear him do this accent and you think it's okay. And if you think that, even if you're one of those mean people who called me names, even if you're Lex Luthor on Reddit, I don't care. I'm cool with that. I get that. I see that. You accord that grace. I don't give him that grace. I don't give him that grace because he's suing over a rap beef, because I don't like the way he talks about women, because I don't like the things that I know he did with younger women, and I don't like the things I think he did with younger women. And I will not forgive him for being a pig fucker who's already a multimillionaire who's trying to convince young people to go into a life of debt so that some asshole in Australia makes an extra $1 billion. There's no lower way to make $1 than to promote online gambling when you're already rich. That goes for you too, Tom Brady and LeBron. Six-side Ute. I'm a six-side Ute. Anyways, there's my review. I'm sorry it's not more hate-filled. These are my Patreons. They give me money to do this kind of goofy stuff, to go to concerts. Also, if you like the hate and love written on my hand thing, that's not my idea. I first saw that in Do the Right Thing, which was a movie by Spike Lee. Bill Nunn plays a character called Radio Raheem, and he does this awesome dialogue where he talks about love as being connected to the soul and hate as being the hand that slew Abel and all that. But actually, Spike Lee was quoting a different movie, Charles Laughton's Night of the Hunter from 1955, starring Sleepy Bob Mitchum, who plays this fake preacher who has that on his hands. So I'll include those links in the description as well. Go teach yourself about cinema. We have some kind of cardinal back there. Maybe it's a blue jay. I think that's a blue jay telling me, stop being mean to Drake. All right. But go check out The Love if you want to. And until next time, there's the camera. Wait, where's the camera?